All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will now be focusing on a movie. Time for Showbiz Theater. We have our film expert, Jason, in the studio.
Hello, Adrian. Great to be here as always.
Same for me. Thank you very much. Good to see you again.
Thank you for having me. I keep saying it because I really do mean it. It's an absolute pleasure.
Perfect. I think you have a great movie to introduce. So who is starring this movie?
Song Kang-ho, who has had a fabulous year. He always has a fabulous year, but this year really is one of his best years to date. 2 films already amassing over 9 million admissions each, Snowpiercer and The Face Reader. And this movie he's in for this Christmas season is an absolute cracker.
Okay.
Absolute cracker. It's an amazing film.
So let's introduce it right now.
Yes, without further ado, today we're talking about this year's most anticipated Christmas film, The Attorney, starring Song Kang-ho. It's set in Busan in the early 1980s. Tax lawyer Song Yun-suk doesn't have any connections and doesn't have any money, but he is famous in Busan as a popular lawyer. He begins to earn a lot of money through real estate registration, tax consultations, and anything that can bring him profit. He even received a recruiting offer from a conglomerate and is about to make his national debut. But he hears news that Jinwoo, the son of a soup restaurant he is close with and received help from 7 years ago, got swept up in an incident and is about to go on trial. He couldn't brush off the urgent request of Sune, the owner of the restaurant, and decided to help by making a visit to the detention center. When he arrives, he is shocked by the state of Jinwoo and decides to take on the case, which every single lawyer tries to dodge.
Now, Jason, I know you really like this movie. You've watched it.
I love this film, yes.
Yeah, and I know that this production was also in the spotlight right from the initial stages.
Yeah, it takes place in the 1980s in Busan, so the production values are obviously quite expensive, but they're also very, very effective. It looks like you go back in time to the 1980s. It's a remarkable transition.
Who do we have in this movie? What's the cast like?
We've got Song Kang-ho, who we've already spoken about.
He's the attorney.
Yeah, he's the attorney. We know him from films such as Memories of Murder, The Host, this year's Snowpiercer, The Face Reader as well. It stars Kim Young-ae, who's famous for her dramas, Oh Dal-soo, who's been in countless films, including The Thieves. Yeah. And then we have Kwak Do-won as well, who plays the villain in this film. One of the best roles I've seen this year. Fantastic villain, fantastic.
Now let's focus on maybe the main actor here, Song Kang-ho. Quite a famous actor here in Korea. 2013 is a fabulous year for him. This is
remarkable year. I think probably the best year a Korean actor in history, I would say.
Maybe.
Close to 20 million admissions with just 2 films.
And maybe even more, close to maybe 30, who knows, 30
Yeah,
million
it depends how well this film does.
Okay, we'll keep an eye out. What's his role? So give us more details. He's a lawyer.
He plays an attorney. First, he's just interested in money and earning an income, and he's just throwing his business cards all over the place to try and get clients. This soon shifts when he represents a boy who's been arrested for being part of a political stroke academic reading group, and he represents him as a civil rights lawyer.
So everyone's trying to avoid this case, but he takes it on with a lot of courage.
A lot of courage, very difficult case. As the film drags on, we see that everyone else is trying to avoid it, and everyone tells him he shouldn't carry on, but he does.
Great acting scenes by Song Kang-ho.
Oh my goodness, the acting scenes, especially in the courtroom, breathtaking. You have to see them, and then the cinematography as well is great in that film, where the camera swings around, just complements his acting. Fantastic.
All right. All right, now, Jason, we have Song Kang-ho, who plays the attorney here, but we also have, these days, many idol group members taking part in films, and they act quite well.
Yeah, it's actually quite surprising. I'll be honest, Adrian, I was a little bit skeptical when I saw a lot of these kind of idol groups cast in movies. We saw it in Cold Eyes with Juno.
Which is maybe a natural reaction, especially when you're a film expert.
Right, but as I was wrong with Juno, he was great. I'm wrong here. Im Shi-won as Jinwoo, who plays the boy who's arrested. in this film.
Im Si-won is a member of the group Jea, 제국의 아이들.
Right, and he's actually a very convincing lead in this. Well, he's more of a supporting role in this film, and he's very, very convincing.
So he's the one who's taken to court and who's being tried.
He's been tried. He's forced to give a false confession. He's interrogated, and you really feel for the guy. He lives a good life. He's done nothing wrong, and yet he's arrested for being part of a group. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that, but he is arrested, and then Song Kang-ho, who plays the attorney,
He gets very upset.
yeah, well, he basically gets called by the boy's mum, and his mum convinces the attorney to represent him, and he does so.
And his life basically completely changes because of these several trials, right?
Yeah, he sees life completely differently. He sees how people have been wrongly convicted, and he's determined to get these individuals released, and particularly the main character in this film, Jin-woo.
Some very emotional scenes as well. I mean, our viewers can probably watch the screen here. Did you cry while watching this movie?
Yeah, I'll be honest.
Shed a few tears?
Yeah, especially towards the end of the film. I won't give too much away, but there's a very moving scene when Song Kang-ho is determined to stand up against the odds, and those around him also support him eventually. It's a very, very moving scene. There's lots of emotional moments in this film, and I think it's going to really be a bit of a tearjerker, but I mean that in a good way.
Yeah. I'll take some tissues.
Not overly sentimental. I think it gets it right here.
Okay. Now, Jason, we also have another actor here, Oh Dal-soo, and he basically is acting alongside Song Kang-ho in this movie. Tell us more about his role.
Yeah, Oh Dal-soo plays a part in Song Kang-ho, the attorney's office. He works in the office with the attorney, or Song Kang-ho, and they work together. The relationship gets a little bit strained as the attorney's determined to go along with this case.
Yeah.
Oh Dal-soo, of course, has been in so many films in the Korean.
A very long filmography.
Huge filmography. It's like this long. He's been in films like Thirst, The Thieves. He was in Miracle in Cell No. 7. It just goes on and on and on. Just,
Well, he's a good actor.
He's a good actor. He's one of these kind of iconic supporting roles. He rarely plays the lead. He often plays supporting roles, but he's become an iconic figure in the industry.
And he adds also a little bit of humor, because this movie can be a bit serious.
Yeah, he has a bit of humor, and there's something quite unique about his face, I find. He's got a very unique face and his expressions.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel if there's no Oh Dal-soo in a movie, it doesn't quite feel right.
Something missing.
There's something missing. He's often that piece that often really comes together.
I heard there was also an interesting story behind him taking part in this production.
Yeah, initially I think he was pondering whether to take part in this film. He wasn't particularly sure.
Yes, no.
But then Song Kang-ho, a friend of his, said, come on board, and he did. And
Join me.
Yeah, and the friendship really shows in this film.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll look forward to the chemistry between those two characters. We also have another person here, Kwak Do-won.
Kwak Do-won, absolutely. His performance, I mentioned this earlier, but his performance in this film is scintillating. Absolutely fantastic. I think he's produced one of the best villain roles this year, tied with Tilda Swinton in Snowpiercer.
He usually plays the villain.
He usually plays the villain, but his roles are often less pronounced. He's gradually rising up the ranks. So he was in the Berlin File earlier this year. And here, I think he's really going to make headlines. The local industry has really taken note of his role in this film. And honestly, I'm not exaggerating. His performance in this film is remarkable.
And we'll have to wait and see if this movie, The Attorney, will be Song Kang-ho's third big hit in 2013.
Third big hit, number 3, hopefully.
Thank you very much, Jason, for all your updates.
Anytime.
All right, everyone, make sure you participate. You can tell us what you think. Give us some feedback on Facebook. Showbiz Theater. We'll be back very soon with another movie. Thank you very much, Jason.
Bye-bye.
1980년대를 살아온 평범한 사람들의 이야기입니다.
인간이 무엇을 위해서 살아야 되는지.
정말 열심히 만들었고요. 실망하시지 않을 거라고 생각합니다.
제작진들의 열정이 고스란히 관객분들에게 전달되리라 믿습니다.